Okay, so I'd like you to turn to page 1 in your chapter 5 packet. Now, if you didn't print out page 1 in your chapter 5 packet, just stop the video. You're going to need probably pages 1 through 8, so go ahead and print them out. Now, I want to start, this is not in the packet, but I want to just start reviewing the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, which you've already done. But I want to remind you that in y equals mx plus b, m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. I also want to review how we graph from slope-intercept form. First, we identify the slope, which in this case is 1/3, and we identify the y-intercept. And remember, we circled it and we said this is where we begin. So the slope, 1/3, is the rise over the run, and the b, which is the y-intercept, is where we begin. So to graph this, we go to where b is -2. So I go down 2, I graph -2. I go up 1 and over 3, up 1 and over 3, up 1 and over 3, and then I connect the dots and I graph the line. Now looking at this, I know the y-intercept is -2. I know the slope is up 1/3 is 1/3. So you can also look at a line and identify what the equation is. So now we are going to look at the top of page 1. And on the top of page 1, and you can look at your own page 1, I made it bigger here. The top of page 1 gives you a line and asks you to please come up with the equation. Now, to come up with this equation, first we have to identify b. Well, in this case, to identify b, I count 1, 2, 3. b is +3. Then I have to figure out the slope. Now, to figure out the slope, I can start at any point I want. I can start here and say it's down 1. And so down 1 would be -1. And then it's over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's -1/4. Now, I could have also started here and gone up 1, and 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. So remember, a slope of 1 over -4 is the same as -1/4. So now, to come up with my equation, I just fill in my slope of -1/4, and it's +3. So y equals -1/4 x plus 3. So I want you to go ahead and try the second one on page 1 on your own. Stop the video, and when you're done, start the video and see if you got it right. So now for the next one, I identify b. b is a +1. And my slope, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 4/1. So that means my equation is y equals 4x plus 1. Now, I could have put 4/1x plus 1, but I didn't have to. Okay, so that's just a quick review of point-slope form. Now, I'm going to introduce you to another form, and this form is called point-slope form. Now, I often abbreviate point-slope form as PSF for point-slope form. Point-slope form we use when you're given a point and a slope. If you're given a point and a slope, you can really easily come up with the equation of the line by going into point-slope form. Now, point-slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1, where x sub 1, y sub 1 is the point, and m is the slope. So here, if you look at this equation, you look at the graph of this line, we see a point. This point happens to be 3, 2. If you count the slope, you go down 2/1, so the slope is -2. So if I looked at this line, I would know a point is 3, 2, the slope is -2. I can come up with the equation of this line very quickly just by plugging it in here. I say x sub 1, y sub 1's my point, m's my slope. Now I just plug in y sub 1 and x sub 1 and the slope. So I do y minus 2. Where did I get the negative 2? Right here. Y minus positive 2 equals the slope negative 2 times, where did I get the x? X sub 1 is 3. X minus 3. So here, this is the equation of the line in point slope form. Okay? Now, look down at the bottom of page 1. They give you an example they want you to try. They tell you m is negative 2/3 and the point is 5, negative 2. And they want you to write the point slope form. Now, the generic point slope form that you have to memorize, just like you know y equals mx plus b and you know ax plus by equals c, you have to memorize y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So the first thing you do is you label the slope and you label the point. So here I label the point x sub 1, y sub 1. Now I use this and just plug in. So I do y minus y sub 1. Well, y sub 1 is negative 2. So y minus negative 2 equals the slope negative 2/3 times x minus x sub 1, which is 5. So that becomes y plus 2 equals negative 2/3 times x minus 5. Okay? Now, those of you who totally get this and want to try the second one on your own, stop the video and try it on your own. If not, we're going to do the next one together. So this says you try. So they give us a slope, they give us a point. So once I know they give me a slope and a point, I think point slope form, right? They gave me a slope, they gave me a point, I do point slope form. What is point slope form? Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, now I have to label my point. What do I label it? X sub 1, y sub 1. And my slope is already labeled. Now I just plug in my unknowns. Y minus y sub 1 is 1 equals, my slope is 1/5, and it's x minus x sub 1 is negative 3. Now, what is x minus negative 3? Well, x minus negative 3 is x plus 3. So, my point slope form is y minus 1 equals 1/5 times x plus 3. Okay, so now what I want everybody to do is turn to page 3A. You're going to try to do number 1 through 6 on your own. You're given a point and a slope. So you're going to write y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. You're going to label your point x sub 1, y sub 1, and your slope as m, and you're going to plug in. Okay, there is a video on the bottom of 3A that you can then play to check your answers. Okay, so everyone now stop. Well, this video is ending. You're going to go to page 3A and do number 1 through 6.